Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sidney and welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here, which you are because this is a brand new channel and this is my very first video. Before we get anything started, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you know when I post. Haven't decided what day of the week I'm going to post, and hopefully it's going to be a weekly thing, but we'll see how it goes. So basically a little bit about me. Like I said, my name's Sidney. Hi, I'm 23 years old. I'm engaged to a wonderful girl named Carly. And we also have a cat named Milo. We are very happy with doing what we're doing. Carly is a college student. I work full time. Yeah, and that pretty much sums up my day to day. Okay, yeah, let's get basically into what I'm even doing this for. So I've been wanting to do a YouTube video for a long time. It's something Carly and I have talked about together. We thought about doing it together for a long time, but I was kind of always the one more like, hey, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And she's got so much going on. She's in her last little bit of college and so much going on after college that, I mean, it was kind of just up to me, really. So this is going to be my channel, but as it progresses, hopefully I can convince her to do a couple of videos with me, and maybe you'll even get to see my cat, but she's kind of camera shy and just people shy in general, so we're still working on that. So yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I finally had a little plot of my life where I was like, hey, this would be a good choice, a good time, so screw it, let's do it. So let's talk a little bit about why I have time to finally in my life do this. When I was 16, I was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer called Ewing sarcoma, and basically what that is a bone cancer found typically in your hips, your femur, your lungs, your chest, your bones. I mean, it's a bone cancer. So yeah, mine was in my right hip. Like your hip has like this part, like the top part of your pelvis, and there was just a big old tumor right along that in the lower lumbar of my spine and my sacrum, and there was 4 really tiny spots in my lungs, and that's basically what it was. I started treatment 2 days after I turned 17, and then I had treatment almost a whole year, and so it started March 22nd of 2012, ended on January the 4th of 2013. I was done with treatment. It sucked really bad that time, mainly because I was just really sick, and I was like, when I found out, I was the end of my junior year, fixing to start my senior year, so I missed the last half of junior year, and I missed my entire senior year, which, so you don't get to do anything fun that you're supposed to get to do to be a senior, which was not great because it's like, okay, I've been going to school my entire life for what? You know, like what have I even been doing this for if I don't even get to participate in senior year? But basically it was, you know, whatever. It sucked, but I still had my entire life ahead of me, so I was like, you know what, we'll figure it out, we'll do it, whatever. So basically my 5-year off treatment is when they say like, okay, yeah, you can officially say you're cancer free, and up until that point you have to say that you're in remission, because Ewing's is such an aggressive form that it relapses quite often, which is not great, but it happens. So I hit January 4th of 2018 and I was like, hey, I'm 5 years post treatment and I'm cancer free. So, yay, yeah, right. Truth be told, I was a couple of months behind on my scans, which is my fault, but I had literally already told Carly, hey, do not let me forget to schedule those. It wasn't like I was like 2 years behind or anything like that. I was literally maybe 5 months behind. So, yeah, I was a couple months behind. Well, little did I know, there was this little thing hanging out my lung. So we'll get to that. That's the whole point of me even doing this. Right now, let me explain where we're at. I went to work on Friday, February the 16th. And what I do for my job is a 911 dispatcher. So I really enjoy it. I think it's really great. And yeah, I just really, really love my job. Love helping people. Love what I do. Love the people that I work with. So basically, on February the 16th, I've been feeling kind of crappy, like the days leading up to it, but literally in my job, there's the worst ventilation system you've ever seen in your entire life. It's literally like we basically just don't have one. So everybody gets sick. It's just like a bowl that you just can't get out of. So if one person gets sick, most likely you're gonna get some touch of whatever they've got, because you can only Lysol like wipe down counters so many times, and like you're always gonna miss something. Like somebody's gonna have cough next to the water fountain, and like then you're gonna go get water, and then you're gonna get sick. You know what I'm saying? So I've been feeling kind of crappy. Everybody had been sick. Everybody had flu, strep, whatever. So I go to work on February the 16th, which is a Friday, and I was feeling awful. And I finally went to my supervisor, who is also a good friend of mine, and said, hey, I don't feel good, and like I feel really awful. And it was to the point where like I just couldn't function. I couldn't keep my head up. Like I just didn't feel good at all. And like, if you know me at all, I don't like to miss work. That is something I do not like to do. And if I'm missing work, then you know I'm probably like on death's door, or like literally there was some form of emergency that I just could not come in, because I do not like missing work. And that's something that has been instilled in me from my grandfather, my grandmothers, and like my parents. Like, you do not miss work. You go to work, you do your job. So I went and asked my supervisor, hey, can I go home please? I do not feel good. I'm really, really sorry, but I would prefer to go home tonight, try to get some extra rest, and be able to come into work on Saturday and Sunday, because I don't want to miss the whole weekend. And so she was like, yeah, sure, that's fine, go ahead. I feel really bad because we had to call an on-call because it wasn't past midnight yet, and so that really sucked for me. But like, I was like, I just can't, I cannot do it. Like, I'm just so, I feel awful. So then the next morning, I went home that night. So the next morning I wake up. I'm not an early morning person. I work night shift, so I do not wake up early. I probably woke up around 10 o'clock, which might seem late to some of you, but that's very, very early for me. So I woke up and I was having like really bad chest pains and like hard time breathing. And I didn't really understand why, because one, I had never felt anything like that before, and two, it was kind of nerve-wracking because I was like, okay, what, like, why is this happening? So it was one thing for me to wake up because of it, but then it was a completely different thing that it was so bad that I then in turn woke Carly up. And I knew she had been like working really hard, so I knew she was tired, so I felt really bad. But I was like, okay, I can't, like, I literally can't breathe, and I'm having such bad chest pains, like I have to wake her up and let her know what's going on. So they didn't subside after a couple of hours, so I went to the little clinic at Kroger, because I was like, okay, like, that's right down the road, might as well just go check out, let her listen, just make sure everything's okay in there, nothing seems off. So we go, this lady's like, have you been coughing? And I was like, no, not at all. And she was like, okay, well, you have muscle aches from coughing. And I was like, but I haven't been coughing. And she was like, yeah, but that's what it is. And I was like, okay, that, I mean, I don't know if that sounds weird to anybody else, but leave a comment if that doesn't make sense to you also. Just saying. So we leave, and then it never subsides. She told me, she was like, yeah, if it doesn't subside, go to the hospital. And I was like, okay, probably should have just went there to begin with anyways, because this was stupid. So I don't like to go to the doctor. I'm not a doctor person. I lived my last half of my teenage years literally in a doctor's office or in the hospital all the times. I do not go to the doctor unless I absolutely have to. Like, I just prefer not to go. So the next day, I wake up still having chest pains, still having a hard time breathing, but now I'm also having a really severe pain in my left shoulder. And I was like, this is just weird. Like, I don't like feeling like this. And I was like talking to Carly, and then we happened to be speaking with her dad, and he was like, yeah, go to the hospital. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, but don't go to another urgent care. Like, you need to go to a hospital, because if you're like as bad as it says it is. And the only time, back up a little bit, the only time I'd ever felt a pain like this was when like my shoulder was kind of like out of place a little, just because I have really crappy shoulders from cheering for so long. So I was like, yeah, that's probably just what it is. Like, it's not a big deal. And so he was like, okay, yeah, go to the hospital, and like they'll be able to give you something for that. So we go with the intention of literally being there like 3 hours tops, and then coming home. We get there, we've been sitting there for like 2 hours. They've put me through like an x-ray where they're like trying to get pictures of my chest, and then like trying to like lift my arm to like see what's going on. So I'm like miserable and so much pain. They've given me no pain medicine. Like, I'm miserable, sobbing this entire time. Carly finally is like, hey, can somebody please give her something? Like, she's in awful pain. So they finally give me something. I'm like calming down a little bit. I'm feeling a lot better. And so the doctor who's treating me comes in, and he's like, yeah, hey, you've got like a little touch of pneumonia, you know, no big deal. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes total sense, because my trainee literally just had pneumonia, and like I'm training her, so we're sitting right next to each other for like hours on end. So like, okay, yes, this makes total sense. Can I leave? And he was like, but due to your previous history, because like I said, Ewing's tends to be also in your lungs. He said, due to your previous history, we're gonna get a CT scan before you go home, just to make sure that's what it is. That should have been red flag number one, but it wasn't, because I was like, okay, well, if I have pneumonia, there's fluid in my lungs, so he should probably check to see how much, right? Okay, no. What red flag number one was when the nurse came in with like 6 more vials to like draw of my blood. And why that should have been a red flag is because when you go into the hospital for anything, they're gonna draw blood and just run the normal like stuff, like, I don't know, like probably to check and see if you're like on cocaine or something. I don't know what it's for. Probably to test also to see if you're pregnant, but, and just a bunch of general other stuff that they test for. But that is what's covered in that blood when they originally come in and draw it at the beginning of your visit. Well, she comes in with like 6 more vials and like these little like bottle looking things with like the stuff in the bottom that like reacts with the blood for all this other kind of testing. And me being a previous cancer patient, like, I've seen that stuff before. And like, you don't just come in and draw extra blood for nothing. Like, there's like, okay, and I was like, okay, something's up that they're not telling me, because this is not normal. This is not a normal thing that they do. This is not normal protocol. I go back to get my CT done, and the guy like wheels me in there and puts me in the CT, no big deal, done in 5 minutes. The CT tech pulls me out, and he looks at me, he's like, so has anybody ever told you your lungs look kind of weird? What? And I was like, no? What do you mean weird? And he was like, well, they just like look kind of funny. And I was like, well, I mean, I had Ewing sarcoma when I was a teenager, and there was like spots in my lung. And he was like, oh. And I was like, what do you mean, oh? And he was like, oh, nothing to worry about. I'm not a doctor. Okay, yeah, like, because that means I'm not going to worry. If I was not worried before, I'm definitely worried now, because your stupid self, because I can't use bad language, your stupid self was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to like pull this 22-year-old girl out of the CT machine and ask her if she knows that her lungs look freaking weird. Okay, yeah, now I'm worried, because like, you're an idiot. Like, they're not even supposed to say stuff like that to you. Like, that's stupid. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe he's just dumb. Like, because you sound dumb, you look dumb, you're acting dumb. So like, maybe he's just dumb. And like, so I didn't say anything to Carly about it until like after. So I come back, And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, can we go home? Can we go home? Can we go home? Can we go home? And then the doctor comes back in and like just like has this look on his face, and I was like, oh crap, here we go, like what else, you know? So he comes in, just like very lightly like puts his hand on my hand, which was like kind of awkward because like he was an awkward dude and I'm kind of an awkward person, and like I don't know you, so like why are you touching me? But I think this is probably like some compassion training that he's probably had to go through in his time as a doctor. So anyways, he comes in and like puts his hand on my hand and is like, so you do have pneumonia? And I was like, yeah, we already covered that, I know. And he was like, but you also have a mass in your lung. And that's when I was like, okay, well, that sucks. And of course I started crying because like, one, that's not what I wanted to hear. And like, really, like now in my life that I'm like established and like have a fiance and like have a cat and like an apartment and like just am living my life as my general like happy like real self, this shit, why? So like I'm upset, Carly's upset, and like it just sucks. So they admitted me that night. So the next Monday morning, which was the 19th, I had a biopsy done on my lung, and a week later I found out that it was the same type of cancer I had before. So right before my 23rd birthday, I found out that I had relapsed for the first time, which sucks, and it was like kind of just a kick in the gut. Like nobody wants to hear that crap. So basically where we're at now, I start chemo tomorrow, which might actually be when this video goes up. So let me just give you a date. I start chemo on Monday, April the 2nd of 2018, which I'm not looking forward to in the slightest. So basically I'll be on a different chemo regimen than the last time because they can't use the same thing as the last time because obviously it outsmarted us and 5 years later it's here again. So we can't use the same thing. Also, the one really crappy part of all of this, which is like the one thing that I'm struggling with the most. It's treatable, but it's not curable at this point. There's like a 10% chance that it'll actually go back into remission. So the hope with the chemo is to shrink it, right? Maybe it'll push it back into remission, and that's like overall goal number like 100 here, but like it's probably not gonna happen. So main goal is to shrink it and keep it stable, or potentially one day take it out. And we're not sure what exactly is going to happen. I'm also going to be on a clinical trial for a medicine called Zocor or simvastatin. You might have heard of it. It's a high cholesterol medication. Some of you are probably even on it if you're adults. I don't really think teenagers or like young people are on high cholesterol medication. But if you're adult, you might even take this medication. But what they've seen in adults is that it has cancer eliminating properties. So they're checking it in kids, teens, and young adults to see what happens. So that is going to go along with my treatment. And who knows, it might really work and it might not. So that's what a clinical trial is. So we're going to see what happens. Hopefully this time won't be as intense. Like hopefully I won't be so sick. Hopefully I won't lose so much weight. But that's kind of why I wanted to do this. Like even if nobody ever watches these videos, like I have something, Carly has something, and like we just want to kind of document this for ourselves, like if that makes any sense. So basically most of my videos are going to be like just kind of like talking about this life, because I think people know people with cancer, but like they're kind of also like, yeah, I don't really have to like see it every day, and like it's like a crappy thing, and like I totally understand that. But no, so it's like a super crappy thing, and people are like, yeah, no, I don't have to see it every day. Like, so it's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind thing. And I think these people always have like these really things like, oh yeah, that person's like super positive. But because like, if you come and visit me and I'm like sobbing the entire time, you're not coming back. And like, we want to see people. Like, we don't like to be just like excluded from society. And so like, we tend to be happier and like put on like a brave face and a smile when people visit, because like we don't want you to not come back. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's really hard. So, like, don't exclude your friends, like, if they get sick. Even if it's not with cancer, even if it's just something else that's, like, serious that they have to deal with. Like, just be there for them. Like, tell them, like, yeah, that's shitty. And, like, excuse me. Like, just tell them, yeah, that's crappy. Like, sorry. And, like, you can, like, complain to me about it if you want to. But, basically, like, this is my life. And this is what's happening right now. And, like, I want to be able to share that with people, even though it's kind of like a crappy topic. But it's probably, I don't want it to always be like crappy topics. Like, I'll probably just like keep you updated on what's going on, and like also with my life and like what's going on. And like hopefully after all of this is all said and done, like I'll get to continue to make YouTube videos and like talk about some other stuff that's like super important to me. And like probably even in all of this, I'll probably try to fit that in, because like I said, I'm a very vocal person. I can't just like not talk about things that are important to me. And so, yeah, maybe we'll become friends, or maybe you won't like who I am through a camera, but I guess we'll see what happens, you know? So, but yeah, so start chemo tomorrow on Monday. I got my port put in last Monday. I would show it to you, but it still looks kind of like bruisey and gross. So probably won't do that, actually. But I'll probably take my camera and try to vlog a little bit while I'm there, but I'm not going to be inpatient this time, so I'm not going to have like a room really to myself to just like vlog and like do my stuff, because like I'll just be there for a couple hours and then get to come home. So I'll try to vlog tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'll actually just be like in an infusion room, so I might have a room to myself. I might not. I might just be like behind like a curtain. But I'll definitely keep you guys posted on what's going on. I might just try to post every Monday, because I feel like it would be really easy to film throughout the week and then film on the weekends and then just edit everything on Saturday and Sunday and then post on Monday. I don't know. I got to talk about it with Carly and see what would be best for the both of us, because she's definitely going to have to help me in the beginning stages of editing. Because she is a lot more technologically she's a lot more technically able than I am. Also, hopefully one day not have this crappy backdrop and better lighting, but I am still searching good ring lights to order. But yeah, so I appreciate you for watching this video. I appreciate you staying on this journey with me, and hopefully you'll stick around to kind of see what's going on. And I know videos are more time consuming than just reading a post, but they're also a little bit more fun, and I feel like you actually get to be a part of my life, which is definitely what I want. So if you have questions, leave a comment, or if you know me, send me a text message, or just like send me a message in general. I'll probably link all of my social media in the description box below, and send me a message. And if you have any questions about anything in my life or pertaining to my treatment or anything like that, let me know. We'll talk about it, and we're gonna get some people freaking educated on what it's like to live with cancer, and it doesn't have to be all sad and The Fault in Our Stars, even though I love that movie, or All of My Sister's Keeper. Like, it doesn't have to be all sad, and sometimes that's the reality of it. Like, something bad happens, but it doesn't always have to be like that, and people can still live completely normal lives even in the midst of all this chaos. So I'm gonna cut this short, even though it's already been really long. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna end this video here with thank you for watching. Again, if you liked, please like, comment, subscribe. I know that's a lot to ask, but it literally takes a couple of seconds, and it'll help me out to know what you guys want. And it would just be really cool to read everybody's comments. So yeah, just stick around and hang out with me. I appreciate you watching this video. I appreciate you becoming part of my family, and I'll see you all next week. Okay, bye!